Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of Parenthood. I'm your host, Neha, and this is a space where we talk about parenting as it unfolds in real time. The parts we plan for, the parts we surrender to, and the parts that completely rewrite us. Today's conversation is about patience, about surrender, about research and instinct, about infertility, unexpected abundance, partnership, and building a home that feels like an oasis in a world that can sometimes feel harsh. I'm in conversation with Snigdha Ghosh Roy, entrepreneur in digital marketing and content, mother to two little ones born just a couple of years apart, partner of a decade and a half to Tushar, and parent to one very important first child, Fang. Harry Potter fans, we see you.
Yeah.
Snigdha's story includes struggling with infertility, giving up on treatments, and then experiencing two natural conceptions back to back. She described herself as instinctive, structured, strict where it matters, deeply grateful, and committed to being the oasis her children can return to when the world feels unkind. Snigdha, I am so glad you're here. Thank you for saying yes to this.
Thank you for giving me the space, Neha.
This is just so beautiful to have you here, and let's begin with you. If you had to describe yourselves in say three words or phrases right now, what would they be?
Um, in the order of how things are, I'm a mother first.
Uh-huh.
Um, then somebody, I don't know, I don't have a term for it, but I'm the go-to person
Yeah.
for a number of people, and then a professional uh,
Mm-hmm.
loves doing what they do, who's found her thing.
Oh wow, that's just so beautiful. That's just so beautiful. And tell me, if your life at this moment were a chapter in a book, what would you call it?
Oh, it'll be chaos. It's chaotic and I enjoy it. I enjoy the chaos.
On that note, you are an entrepreneur, a researcher, a mother of two humans and a dog, and partner of so many years. Which of these identities to you feels the most dominant right now?
It's the partner. The partnership trumps everything else. It's been my one constant for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And um, I always say it to whoever is ready to listen, that that's the one thing I did right. I found the right person.
Oh.
Uh, if there's anything that I did absolutely right, it was finding the right partner. And the funny thing is, I didn't find him; he found his way to me. And yeah, that trumps everything else in my life.
Yeah. So tell us the story of how did you two meet?
Ah, it's very interesting actually. It doesn't sound real. You remember there was this social media platform called Orkut.
Of course, I do
Yeah.
remember.
so I was pretty active on it. Social media was always a thing for me. So though I didn't post much, but I was very active there. So I got a message from randomly somebody, and he's like, I saw your profile, and I would like to talk about life in general. I checked out his profile, very decent profile, nice, and I was like, okay, which profile? I didn't even have a picture on Orkut. He was like, no, I saw it on a matrimony site, and I had no clue. So I asked my parents, and they were like, "Yeah, yeah, we made one," and they were fumbling for words, and then they were like, "No, no, we then removed it. We knew you would throw a fit, and it's not something. It was just something that we thought we should do, and then realized that we shouldn't." So that's how we spoke for the first time, and then didn't speak for a long time. But yeah, that's how it all began. We met later on. Then I was in Delhi for some time. We started meeting a little more often because I was a very social person then. Things have
Mm-hmm.
changed. I was, I enjoyed the company. And yeah, so it went from there. uh, i I truly treasured him as a friend always. He was a very good friend to me.
Hmm.
um, he knew everything right or wrong that was going on, and a very patient listener. It is such a rare quality, um, because I don't think there are many people who listen to listen. They listen to speak.
Yeah.
uh, that was a very big thing for me, and I treasure friends like that. um, but he says he was very sure that this is going to turn into something. I wasn't. We
Mm-hmm.
were in different relationships then.
Mm-hmm.
I was, and he was on and off with someone. I don't want to talk too much about that,
Yeah.
other people involved. So yeah, so then my relationship didn't work out. My parents started looking for someone again on a matrimony side, and then they brought me some very strange rishtas, as they call it. And I was like, this I don't think will work out for me. I'm just not meant for this. And then I didn't even talk to my husband. I just then my friend, I just blurted that to my mother. I was like, there's this guy, I know he's interested in me. What do you think? And I still remember our bedroom is a little longish. My parents'
Mm-hmm.
house a little longish, so my father was at least 15 feet away, and in the blink of an eye, he was next to me. Show us the picture. Messaged him and I told him that, I told my parents this, and he was gobsmacked.
Yeah, I
He was
would be I
gobsmacked.
would be shocked if he wasn't.
So he was like, but then he knew what kind of a person I was. I'm a very impatient, and
Yeah.
I react before I've had the time to control my natural responses. And with age, things have changed, but I was a 25-year-old then. So
Yeah.
weren't exactly um, as calm as I can be now. So anyway, so that's where it started, and then that horrible feeling came to me, like, what if he's not interested? He was interested, but I didn't know if marriage was on
Yeah.
his, because this was not dating.
Yeah.
Dated, we never did. And then within a month, I think उस time पे there was this inauspicious months going on, so no conversation around marriage. As soon as December, before the month that is supposed to start in December, he came over, and he came alone to see my entire family.
Poor thing.
And I have a big family. I mean, close family, friends plus family and everything. He came all by himself, and I had sympathy. So because my cousins and their wives, and then my parents, my mama, masi, everyone, the entire clan kind of, came together.
Oh God.
Nice, he was fine, and yeah, so that was another very reassuring sign and a feeling for me, because for me, family is everything. I
Mm.
am a very um, I am full of contrasts, of course, but family has never been on the back burner for me. It's always at the front and center. So
Mhm.
that's just how it has been. Though I'm an only child and I've grown up in a nuclear family, but we were very close by, all of our.
Mm.
So that's, I think, one of the best things to happen to an only child is to have your extended family around you. So I was very lucky that way. So I saw that, and then yeah, it went on from there. And later I found out, my mother-in-law told me, like years after we got married, that he showed me a picture long before there was any conversation around it. I was like,
Wow.
what did he say? Like, why did he show you the picture? He said he didn't say anything, but I kind of understood what he's trying to say. So he has a very beautiful relationship with his mother, which I think is why he has a good relationship with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just precious to watch. So
Oh,
we kind of knew
yeah, yeah.
before I.
I think that's good, isn't it?
It, it is so precious to get to know these things later on. Okay, so he had this in mind, and I always tell him that you kind of what do you say, manifested your way to this, and
Yeah.
he agrees because he told me later that I knew I'm going to marry you. And like, how do you say that? Why are you so 90s ka Bollywood person? Because I am not. I am very, I'm not the head in the clouds kind of a person. I'm
Yeah,
a very action oriented and, like that. So, yeah,
yeah,
so it's something I enjoy retelling.
yeah.
It's funny and it says a lot about me. I'm so impulsive. Yeah, and it's just us.
Yeah,
That's how.
but it's beautiful to see that kind of contrast, you know.
Yeah, yeah, it is pretty. Anybody who sees us together would see it. That's the thing they'll see, the first thing, that we are poles apart.
Uh-huh.
And people joke about it. Whenever we are in the same room, any public gathering, we are in two different corners. We're never together because I am the one who's talking to everyone, and he's in one corner with one favorite person, or it'll be the other way around. If it is his side of the family, so I'll be with one or two people that I'm really comfortable around. So
Yeah.
we are both very family oriented.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, all our best moments are always with the family.
Wow. Wow. And tell me, what did your relationship look like in the early years?
Oh, okay. That's also a little twisted. He worked the American shift, like I
Yeah.
said, and I worked the uh, day hours. So we used to meet on Saturday nights with friends, and we used to spend Sunday grocery shopping and cleaning up. So that was our life for till 2020 when the pandemic hit.
Wow.
Yes. But one good thing that happened because of that kind of life was we got very comfortable in the sense that if there is somebody always around, you take time to be yourself. So we
Hmm.
have already become our own selves in that space, physical space,
Yeah.
before we felt like, oh, someone's watching. And another good thing is because we had these opposite hours, we could bring Fang home without
Hmm.
worrying about, leaving him alone. And
Yeah.
so he was the connecting factor for us for a very long time. And then the pandemic hit, and then we rediscovered ourselves, both of
Yeah.
us, what we mean to each other, what it means to be together 24 hours after meeting only once a week.
Yeah.
So it was a whole new thing, and I'm lucky to get to experience the early years twice.
Yeah. How beautiful is that?
Yeah, I feel blessed. Obviously not all the time. I have my moments, but yeah, I have a lot to be thankful for.
Yeah.
Uh, so a lot of it went right in a very twisted way, in a very unconventional way, for it to actually come together in a very, in just the way it should, for
Hmm.
me again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's how it was. And early years were mostly, um, though we knew each other for 4 years before we got married, 3 or 4 years, 3 years, sorry. But it's not the same, is it?
It's
So,
not.
what I really am thankful for, that we were so good friends that we knew a lot about each other. We didn't understand each other yet, but we knew a lot about each other. So that discovery part was a little more comfortable. He knew what I was like as a person. He knew what I had been through all my life, the good and the bad of it. So there is a background that was very comfortable because we'd been speaking with each other for 3 years. We'd met each other also, of course, during that time. I'm not that crazy. We'd met each other. We had spent a lot of time together. We would socialize with his friends and my friends. We'd go to movies and everything. Uh, but that formed a very strong foundation. You know, I always, whenever my younger cousins talk about, or my nieces talk about finding their partners, I always say, "You don't go looking for a partner. Go look for a friend, and see if that can turn into a partnership. Don't go with the intent of getting a partner. It doesn't work out because you have a checklist then,
Yeah.
you know." Um, and it's this generation especially has a very mm, different sense of being, and they have a very difficult time connecting with people in real life.
Right.
And I see that as a very concerning sign. But I'm happy in our house, at least the next generation is very comfortable talking to their uh, to our generation. I have nieces who are 18, 13, the teenage girls, and I worry.
Yeah.
Comes with parenting, I guess.
Yeah. 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 And Snigdha, you've mentioned that you've seen almost everything in these 14 years with Tushar, and
Yeah,
that now you are in one of the strongest phases of your
yeah.
relationship. What changed?
Acceptance, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Acceptance is a very underrated word, and it has a very, we rebel against it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but it's such a beautiful thing to happen when it happens organically. Acceptance is not resignation. Acceptance is understanding and absorbing the person or the situation or the circumstance as they are before you can do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
At times, acceptance is all it takes, and
Mm-hmm.
at times, there are things you do after it. So, a lot of it comes from that. Um, uh, we we missed out spending a lot of time together, you know, because we had opposite schedules, and we are very different people.
Mm-hmm.
So finding common ground um, was very difficult. Pandemic was a terrible, terrible time. It was such a terrible time, and it feels a little strange to say it, but it brought us closer. It gave us one of the best phases of our lives. Both my children were born during the pandemic. My in-laws, we shifted them from their hometown here. And
Wow.
the pandemic, my parents came and lived with us because I'd conceived. So, and I was taking care of a lot, so they had to come over. So it was such a terrible time, but we were privileged to have had the family together, to
Yeah.
have um, finally get what we were, you know, pining for so long,
Yeah.
for years. Um, so yeah, definitely, uh, a lot of at times you just need to absorb all that surrounds you, and that learning came a little later in life,
Yeah.
and that just made everything so much more beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
This feeling of contentment, this
Mm-hmm.
feeling um, how privileged I am. Maybe the sense of privilege that I'm talking about is a very different one. It's spiritual. It's emotional. Uh, it's the I have seen partnerships that scare me,
Yeah.
and that makes me so much more grateful for having a family that has finally learned to accept each other as they are, instead of just trying to repair things.
Mm.
You cannot unless you understand, you accept. You don't even need to understand, you just accept. That's all.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then you start working towards what works. You
Hmm.
cannot be action oriented all the time. You know,
Hmm.
you can't always do something about everything.
Hmm.
That's the only difference I see.
Yeah. Wow, so profound. Seriously, like I'm just, I'm just like, yeah, keep talking. I'm listening.
That's flattering. Thank you.
Yeah. But tell me, you also talked about how differences show up and challenges arising out of tradition versus new age philosophies and things like that. So, can you share an example or two about how those differences show up in your day-to-day life?
So it has evolved over the years.
Yeah.
Today, the central theme of our lives is parenting.
Yeah.
So what happens is, um, I have had a very different childhood. Tushar has
Hmm.
had a very different childhood. He was brought up in a joint family with um, a very different outlook towards life, and it was a business family and generational business family. Uh, there was a certain structure there.
Hmm.
I came from a family where my father had very socialist values.
Hmm.
Um, my father is a feminist, and I grew up in a very different family. So I I was unaware of a very intrinsic part of an Indian's life,
Yeah.
which I won't say good or bad, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
In growing up the way I did, it was a different kind of an inbreeding because I grew up with very like minded people. So
Hmm.
I didn't know that this is not normal.
Yeah.
For me, that was my normal.
Yeah.
So when that happens, it it takes a lot of that's where acceptance comes in, and it doesn't happen in very quickly.
Hmm.
Because you see something which is so strange for you and it is so normalized that you don't know what to do. Am I the one who's bonkers, or is this
Hmm.
a world I've stepped into? Because I mean, you don't understand these things. And so now that we are parenting our children, of course, both of us have very different views. So we kind of have to center ourselves all the time and come back to um, the very clear thought that both of us want what's best for them.
Right.
So we have to remember that all the time. So we have also stumbled our ways, or kind of in a very awkward or clumsy way, we've finally reached a system where we don't throw bombs at each other.
Yeah.
In the sense, basically what happens is that, see, whether it's me, him, my mother-in-law, my mother, my father-in-law, we just recently lost my father-in-law, so
Oh, I'm so
it's
sorry. Yeah.
it's still there in my, when you start talking.
Yeah.
So parents, my mother-in-law, my husband, me, all of us, we have very different ideologies. So one thing that has happened over these 4 years, now that my older one is 4, what has happened is that we have um, we have learned to let it be, all of,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
is so difficult. It is
Yeah.
very difficult. So even with my kids, I tell them, so if they tell me, but Papa lets me do this now, I say, when it's just Papa, then it's Papa rules. When it is Mama, then it's Mama rules. So you have to learn. And I used to think it would confuse my kids, but I've realized they are emotionally getting a lot more intelligent, that not everyone will be same. So we cannot be this rigid. Okay, Papa ne ye kiya, to ye hoga hi, or
Hmm.
Mama ne kiya, to ye hoga. So they've come beyond that. They've
Right.
understood that every person is different.
Hmm.
Every person has different preferences. They also have started understanding that we are different from each other because they're 16 months apart, they're so close in their ages,
Yeah.
their identities were intertwined.
Hmm.
So
Almost like twins, no?
almost, almost. Yeah, so another anecdote, when the first time I conceived, it was twins, but then one of them kind of got absorbed. So my mother-in-law always says like he had to come, so he pushed his way through. It was him. So yeah, so they have kind of now that even now they're very small, they're 4 and 3. What identities right now? It'll take another 3 4 years for that to happen, but I see that they understand that they're their own person. um, just because we tell them that everyone has different preferences. I don't like you sitting on the table and eating, but if your tama or your dadi, she's okay with it or she encourages it, that's okay too. Nothing is wrong and right, it's preferences, what we prefer. Yes, there are certain things which are wrong. You can't hit people, you can't be disrespectful and all that. Those are the blanket rules. But when it comes to how you're eating, where you're eating, it depends on who you're with.
Right.
That brings in a lot of flexibility because they are
Hmm.
growing up among so many people. We have a massive friend group here, fortunately, because my husband's school friends are here.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so that's like another privilege. So, I'm sorry about this.
No problem.
Yeah. Just a second. I'll just drop a message to her. It's my
Yeah.
mother.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, uh, they have they have that privilege of growing up around a very diverse set of people.
Hmm.
And I didn't have that. I grew up around people who were all from the teaching community, so naturally their thinking was a very different one from a typical, probably a service uh, corporate to utna it wasn't there then, but the other government job setups, or let's say homemakers were different. We all had working mothers, so
Hmm.
more independent. We didn't have koi glass la ke nahi deta tha. And I for the first time when I saw ki people were serving food every day, I was gobsmacked. I was like,
Hmm.
does that really happen?
Hmm.
I thought it was only in movies. So
Yeah.
that was the kind of reality check I got, and I understood that the acceptance of a different kind of life is very important because they are accepting me,
Hmm.
for the person that I never did that for anyone, not even my in-laws. They never expected that from me. And to their credit, that's a massive, massive adjustment,
Yeah.
coming from a setup like that, their generation, and then living with us. So my mother-in-law was is still very progressive in her outlook. When she shifted here, she said just one thing to Tushar, that yes, we will shift there, but it has to be separate houses.
Yeah. Wow.
Renters, it'll not be in the same house.
Wow.
I my jaw fell. I was like, what? So yeah, so she is very sorted that way.
Hmm.
Um, which again contributes a lot uh, to my partnership with Tushar also, because things can get really complex for very small things, and I learned it from them. Acceptance part, I learned it from them, because when you grow up in an echo chamber of sorts,
Yeah.
not exactly, but I can't find a
Yeah.
better word right now,
Yeah.
then you become very rigid.
Hmm.
Sense of right and wrong, black and white becomes so strong and structured that it becomes, uh, we think we're very progressive and very modern, and this is how it should be, but we become very unforgiving in that. There are grays. We need to accept them. We need to live them. We need to. Uh, there. I don't know when it became so wrong to make other people comfortable.
Hmm.
Yes, there are limits to it. If On some occasions, my mother in law likes seeing me get dressed up in a certain way. Why wouldn't I do it? Because for the rest 300 days in the year, I'm in my pajamas.
Hmm.
She never says anything to me.
Hmm.
How is it such a big problem that
Hmm.
she said
Hmm.
on a certain puja day, why don't you wear your, gold bangles or something? Or why don't you do this? Or why don't you wear that? She has that relationship with me. Why wouldn't
Yeah.
she?
Yeah.
If someone says it nicely, the least we can do is be nice about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, unless I'm really sick or I'm really in a situation, there is no justification for not doing it.
Yeah.
It's a bare minimum. He's an only child. I'm an only child. Who else would they say anything to? And this this was a growing up phase for me.
Hmm.
Because mere ghar mein it was always like do what you want, do what you please, say what you please. And Saturday, I'm so sorry about
It's
this.
okay.
Yeah, it is that my gate thing.
Yeah.
Can the bell didn't ring? I'm sorry.
No problem. No problem.
So like I said, it's chaotic. My life is chaotic, and I kind of do nothing to make it a little more structured. The only thing that I when I talk about structure, because I grew up in a very structured space. So I
Hmm.
still have that tendency and instinct to structure things, and I do it. But now I'm not very rigid about it.
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
call that aging, growth, parenting, because once you have kids, you cannot control anything.
Yeah.
Cannot control anything.
Yeah.
So, so that part of me has softened. Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
so my mother always, laughs about it. She's like, "Jo koi na karwaye, santan karwaye."
But how true is that? How true is that?
Anything. I mean, I've seen people who transform just because all our kids, they have us wrapped around their pinkies.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. And
I,
talking about kids, if only if you are comfortable, I want to step into something very vulnerable, your infertility journey. So you said you struggled for a very long time. What did that look like for you emotionally?
oh, it was terrible. I would not recommend it. Anybody who asks me, I say, you adopt, you do whatever you want, you wait. Do not do this to yourself.
Mm.
Because I didn't go for IVF. I was very clear about where I'm drawing that line. But I went through 8 years of treatment, and which meant, of course, there were gaps. They
Yeah.
don't go continuously, of course. But Uh, I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't. Yes, there are people who can manage it very well, but they're masking. I think they're lying if they're saying it doesn't impact them. Because a synthetic hormone is being pushed into you. How do you how do you deal with that? My friends tell me, the people who knew me, who were introduced to me during that time, and they're still in my life, they tell me, ki, you are a different person. I said, no, this is me.
Yeah.
I was a different person then.
Then,
I was
yeah.
unpleasant, I was hormonal, uh, I mean, obviously physically, mentally, emotionally, I was not comfortable. And I didn't share, during the time, I didn't share a lot with many people.
Hmm.
So I think a lot of us have that tendency when we are going through the toughest of our phases, we shut ourselves down.
Yeah.
We don't talk about it, we don't share, it's frowned upon, there's a lot of stigma around it, there's a lot of discomfort around it. People do not want to hear things.
Yeah.
Um, so so it's very isolating.
Mm.
So yeah, it became my life. My life revolved around these cycles and these injections and these. very mechanical, and then they tell you the dates when you need to try, and it's god awful. It's disgusting after a while. And we went through so much during that time. Tushar didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
I didn't have the vocabulary to explain. Today I have that vocabulary. But it takes a toll on every aspect of your life, your work life,
Yeah.
your relationship, your the next circle, your circle of influence, the second one. And then um, now that we live away from our families, it becomes very difficult for them to relate,
Yeah.
you know? And the stigma around it, and people think it's so normal to ask, oh, why are you not planning kids?
Yeah.
You know what's going on.
Yeah.
Why would you ask someone that?
Yeah.
And you know that was a lesson, and I was like, I kind of vowed to never ask anyone when you're getting married, when you're having kids, when you're having second kid, what is going on. I was like, I vowed, during that phase, I am never going to ask anyone this.
Yeah.
It's a very traumatic part of your life. I talk about it now. I never used to talk about it earlier, but I talk about it because people don't talk about it. I
Yeah.
wish someone spoke to me about it when I was going through that phase where I needed somebody who could relate to what I was going through.
Yeah.
And today, yes, I'm so happy to see conversations around it. But, you know, 10 years ago, no, nothing of that sort.
Yeah.
Uh, Even the medical community, oh, it's terrible. I have nothing nice to say about them,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
So uh, I've had multiple failed procedures. I felt like cattle would probably,
Hmm.
um, but it's voluntary. They didn't
Yeah.
force me to do it. They just gave me options and hope.
Yeah.
So, uh, yeah, I mean, it's one of the worst things to go through. Probably, I I shouldn't say it is one of the worst things to go through. There are worse things, of course, but
No, but you are talking about your life, right? You're not. I mean, everybody speaks from their experience and their context, and
it's so isolating, Neha. It's so isolating, uh, where you will not find comfort even if you choose to share, because it has been normalized to that extent.
yeah,
It's yeah, so itna to karna hi hai. If you want to have kids, so you have to do this. No, people do so much.
माँ बनना आसान नहीं है.
It's no
माँ
stands that. And aaj ke time mein, uh, it's crazy. And the thing is, I've always been fat, and that became such an issue. You lose weight, sab ho jayega. You lose weight, sab ho jayega. I was like, I
Oh
have
God.
always been fat. You cannot expect me to drop 30 kgs and be normal or healthy. I
Yeah,
cannot do that. And you become defensive. You either shut down or get into arguments, and then that's another social ostracization around that. And I've always been labeled as a very unconventional and a kook, which is okay. I've enjoyed that label. But at times you just want someone to shut up and listen.
yeah,
That's it, even if you don't understand it.
yeah,
I don't want solutions because there is none, and I
yeah,
know it. All I need is an ear, and that's where I think we are really improving because we have communities building up now.
yeah,
There were communities in our parents' generation, very close knit communities. Our generation did not have it
yeah,
because we moved out of our homes, we moved away. We were supposed to do it all, conquer all, and grin and bear it.
yeah,
Uh, it was unkind. The world was unkind to us, especially our generation. That's probably why we go the extra mile for our kids,
yeah,
and I see hope there. you know.
Hmm.
Yes, the times are dark. There are so many negative things going on with this news, that news coming up. It's there. But I still see hope because parents are trying to create a world where, which is a little kinder. You
Yeah.
know, it's not that if you cry, I'll give you a reason to cry about. That doesn't happen anymore. And I feel so good about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to, ramble on.
That's perfect. That's perfect. But tell me what made you decide to give up on the treatments?
So there were a couple of things. One was, of course, it had been so many years, and then the doctors, they started pushing me towards IVF because I was aging. That was a hard no for me. I was like, I have seen, I have read enough about it. I uh, and frankly, financially, it drains you out. Yeah,
Yeah.
uh, you know, uh, and then you get into that sunk cost fallacy wala situation where
Yeah.
you say, now we have invested, so we need to try one more time, one more time. I knew of people who did it, who did 4 or 5 cycles and then went on to conceive naturally once they stopped doing it. And another thing that I always felt was that it's taking a toll on our relationship
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to adopt.
Hmm.
My husband was not ready to consider it because he wasn't sure about being a parent.
Hmm.
But he had seen, like I said, he comes from a very traditional setup. We're so different from each other. And I have family members who were adopted. And for us, it was very normalized. So I don't blame him for not understanding it in the moment because, there is a lot of it is complicated. We all
It
know
is.
that it
Yeah.
is easy. So
Yeah.
if you're not ready for it, I am not the one who's going to push it.
Yeah.
I presented it as an option, and then when he didn't feel like, it was the way to go, I never brought it up again. And then when the treatments really took a toll on me, I had become twice the size that I was. I was
Wow.
fat to begin with, and I was always in pain. Then those injections and everything, they it looked like I was waiting for my life to begin.
Wow.
And that realization, it kind of broke me somewhere. I was like, I am at the time I was around, I think 35, 34 or 35, and I was like, it ends here. it this is my limit. And it was not an impulsive statement. My husband understood the difference also. He never pushed me. He was always a very, if you feel like it.
Yeah.
It was a very during the time that we were going through this, he also didn't know how to be there for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And poor soul tried.
Hmm.
But in that moment, I have a feeling, I could be wrong, we've never spoken about it. uh, in that moment, I think he was a little relieved that we're getting out of it. And I did have a miscarriage, a very early stage miscarriage. um, I remember having that miscarriage, and then a week later, um, I was in the hospital with my sister-in-law who just had a baby, and I was taking care of her baby. Ah,
Oh.
the weirdest, and in the moment, it didn't feel as bad because I said I'm the go-to person. So hospital duty, it's me. Anything internet related, it's me. So it is understood that hospital means she will stay. And my mother stayed the night with me. And then I told her, I hadn't told her about the miscarriage. And then I told her, and she didn't have any, she didn't have anything to say about it. And I get it. What would you say to that? What would you say to that?
Yeah.
And when I told her, that's when it hit me also.
Mm,
But what surprised me was that I am usually someone who bawls her eyes out at the drop of a hat.
mhm.
But I felt so broken that I didn't cry also. I was like, it was more a loss of hope,
Yeah,
anything else. It's grief, but it's not the usual flailing my arms and tears and snot kind of a situation. It was deeper than that. Um, it was very invalidating because some people said, "Are it was barely 2 months. It's nothing." I felt like, how do you measure it? How do you
yeah,
scale?
yeah,
You scale it. It's the impact that's more important than
yeah,
anything else.
yeah.
There would be people who would be like, "Oh, मेरा तो 5 months में हुआ था." मैं why are you? Like, it's not a competition, and that's when I stopped sharing. I was like, this is not really working out for me, and I closed down completely. This was in 2018. So, um, so a series of events like this, they finally pushed me to stop. And then when we stopped getting the treatment in 2019, we brought home Fang, and
Mm.
of course things changed. And then my husband came to me on his own and said that I think we can register for adoption.
Wow.
I was like, what made you change your mind? He was like, if I can feel this way about Fang, I'm sure I
Yeah.
can feel that way about a child, because he loves kids in general. He's not one of those, oh, keep my
I'm
distance kind.
having goosebumps. Sorry.
So that was another thing. So and we registered in 2019. Then the pandemic hit, and the waiting times got excruciatingly long. And if you know the process, it's a very,
Yeah,
again, not, it's a very challenging process.
yeah,
Wait times, there's nothing to do.
yeah.
That's the worst thing, you can do nothing about it. So you just wait, and you are a part of the community. So I joined a Facebook group and a WhatsApp group and all that, and it helped. There were some people in the group who were already a part of my life, who I knew from
Mhm.
had adopted through Kara, and so they induced me to the process, and I was going through that. Then the pandemic hit, everything was imploding, and
Yeah.
I hadn't told many people except my in-laws, my parents, and the close family, and they were very happy. My in-laws, it seems, I didn't know this, Tushar didn't tell me, they had told him long before that, why are you not thinking about adoption? So they were more
Wow.
open to it than my
Mhm.
husband was. So yes, there have been tough phases, but I am so grateful for the people I've had around me. They might have been misguided at times. I might not have liked certain things that have happened or situations, but what makes me grateful is their intent.
Yeah,
Their intent shines through even today, you know.
yeah.
So we've had our challenges, just like any other family. It happens every day over everything. It happens over biscuits. It happens over sugar. It happens
Yeah.
over TV. But in our heart of hearts, we have understood each other's intent. You know,
Wow. Such
so
a wow, such a, it's, I think it's such so clear what matters. It's everything else just falls into place. And it's not, it sounds very romantic when you say it like that, but I'm sure there are challenges, but
first,
yeah, but at least it's a, what matters. Yeah.
yeah, they say when you hit 40, you change. A switch flips. It did.
Can't wait.
I am 41 now, and I'll be 42 this year. And at 40, a switch flips. It
Wow.
happened with me at 27 once, when I turned 27, 25, 20, 27, and a switch flipped. That's the year I got married.
Wow.
And now at 40, I could feel that, I don't take BS. I don't
Mhm.
give BS. The, that acceptance became so much more stronger that,
Hmm.
that I can basically we filter out the faff
Yeah.
out of things. And it is a switch. It happens like that. It is not gradual at all.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So yeah, so then that happened, and in 2020, when the pandemic hit, my father-in-law, uh, he got COVID, and we were shattered because we couldn't travel, we couldn't do anything. They were isolated, and my father-in-law is not an easy patient. My mother-in-law was struggling, and we felt so helpless. Then finally, as soon as the restrictions lifted, he had recovered by then. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
before the restrictions almost lifted, my father-in-law's elder brother, it's a joint family, right? So he passed on,
Oh.
uh, by not through COVID, but he was unwell. So while he was in the hospital, he was very close to my husband, so almost took him on as a son.
Oh.
He then his daughter, Didi, called him, my husband, that why don't you come? I think he's waiting for you because he's not letting go. The day he reached, the next day he passed on.
Wow.
And in that moment, the Shah decided, I'm taking my parents home with
Hmm.
me. He called me up. He said, this is what I'm thinking. I said, wonderful. Let's do that because this is too much for me also. The stress levels were too high that they're alone and how are they managing and everything. So then he told me, this is what Mama's saying, that she wants a separate house. And it happened like magic, Neha. I put a message up in that society group. Same day, a person responded. Next day, I finalized. I gave the advance in the same block that we lived,
Wow.
just a few floors down. We were on the 13th floor. They moved into the fifth floor within a week.
Wow. Wow. Again,
Oh.
I'm having goosebumps.
So I'm telling you, these are stories that sound like stories actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they packed up within 15 days. They were here.
Wow.
We were so happy, and I had the time. I had around 3-4 days in which I stalked there. At least got the basics sorted, their washrooms sorted, their they uh, the mattresses and everything. I
Yeah.
did beds myself because I wanted them to have that fun of buying their own furniture. They've never done that.
Yeah. Wow.
So traditional, generational
Yeah.
house, they've never gotten the that fun of picking out their furniture. And at this age, if they're getting it, nothing like it.
Yeah.
So we did
How
a
thoughtful is that? Wow.
so yeah, I am an empath. So
Yeah.
everything hits me tenfold.
Yeah.
So which is why the gratitude is so heavy in me. So having done that, then they moved here, and then Tushar got COVID, and it really was bad. It was for 15 days his temperature did not come down from 103,
Whoa.
and he isolated himself in the same house, and I didn't let my in-laws come. I was the villain there. I was like, no, you will stay in here because one more person falls sick, I will just be
Collapse.
gone. I
Yeah.
will know what to do. So uh, I remember spending the Diwali. I was in the balcony and we took a selfie because we have glass doors. So it was
Oh.
inside. We took a selfie and posted it. And yeah, but Tushar is a very good patient. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he never countered me. He would talk to the doctor on his own. He has a friend who back in Patna, their hometown, who was a CMO there. So he would call him up and send him the report. So we were taking care that there's no chest scan needed, or we don't need to do anything more than that. So that was again a very stressful month, and he isolated for 20-21 days till his temperature came down and the test came out negative. Fang was inconsolable, of
Oh.
course. I didn't let couldn't go inside because I was too scared. And he would sit outside the door and be so confused that he's at home. Why is he not with me? And they
Yeah.
used to sleep together, snuggle in together, sleep together. So he had a very tough time. And yeah, it was. But so many people came together to help us out. There are other people here who I am not, for the past 10, 15 years, I've not been social at all.
Hmm.
So much going on. So, but I knew them, I would talk to them, and they actually did all my grocery shopping for me.
Wow.
And in that time, in the time of COVID, that was a risk.
Yeah.
So we got, even for my in-laws, they would do it for them and they would bring it to them, or they would arrange things to be delivered. The wife, she would go and sit with my mother-in-law as she would cry out and she would express her concern. And only son she's not getting to meet because he has COVID. That's a terrible situation to be in, but I had to be the mean one
Yeah.
here. Like, I don't want you falling sick. You're not coming into this house.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know she was very hurt by that. She was very angry and she was so despondent. But I was like, practicality has to take over here. You
Yeah.
are in the vulnerable age. You have high BP. You have comorbidities. So I don't want another patient in the house. End of story.
Yeah.
So fortunately, I didn't get it. COVID. I never had COVID. So or maybe it was asymptomatic. I don't know. So I was able to manage the whole thing. And then when he came out, he was extremely weak. And then we slowly recovered from that. 2021, okay, this is another funny story.
Come on, we are all for it.
2021, in 2020, when the lockdown hit, I have a friend who is a yoga trainer. And
Hmm.
she is not just trained, she has studied yoga, medical yoga, and not those new age yoga girls.
Yeah.
She's older than me, and she's very. She's not the one, lose 5 kgs in 5 days types. She is somebody who works on you, works on your healing inside out,
Hmm.
and she's been my rock. Through 2020, we started training together because she shifted virtually, and she helped me become a lot healthier. So in 2021, my Tushar's Mossy and her family came over, and we had a very good time. We went to my parents' place also, and we had a very good time, 10 days. And then after she and one of our friends in our friend circle, none of us had kids then, none of
Oh,
us. So one of them had conceived, and she had her baby 2020 January.
okay.
So we met her and came back, and in February. Um, it was my yoga session in the morning, and before that now my I had developed a tennis elbow sort of a situation, or a shoulder ka situation, so I went to an orthopedist because my friend told me to, I can't manage this one, you have to go and see. So he told me to get an x-ray done. So while I was going there, the girl who was the technician, she told me, you're not pregnant or anything. And I don't know why I took a beat and I said, not that I know of.
Hmm.
And I got the x-ray done. I bought the medication and I bought a pregnancy test.
Wow.
Never in my life have I answered a question like that
Yeah.
this way. So I went back home. I didn't tell Tushar also because we've had those moments so many
Yeah.
times. So the next morning I took a test and I could see another line. I'd never seen
Wow.
it except for the one miscarriage that I had. I'd never seen it. And I think I was shaking uncontrollably because how is this? How is this possible?
Possible.
It has never happened. So I woke Tushar up. It was, I think, 5:30 in the morning. He'd just gone to sleep.
Wow.
And he wakes up and he's like, what happened? I said, see. And he was stunned and he was like, okay, now what? I said, don't know. I have a yoga class. I'll speak with Nidhi and find out. And he was like, okay. And he went back to sleep. So that's him. That's basically that's Tushar in a nutshell. And then he went back to sleep. So he's unbothered by anything in the world.
Wow.
It's very good for me. If both of us were like this, we would all both be, climbing up the walls. So
Yeah.
I then I showed it to her, and then she was like, no class right now.
Mm,
This is definitely a positive test. You just go see a doctor and confirm it.
yeah.
So it was confirmed on 14th February.
Oh, wow.
So I have those doctor's reports and I checked it was 14th February. And my son's due date was 14th February. He was
Wow.
born early, but his due date was 14th February. That was another thing. Oh God, you're going to think that I'm making these things up.
No. Bring it on. I'm having just so much fun.
I think that's why Sujit recognized that you talked to me. So in my son's case, what happened? I just had my daughter. She was a tiny thing then. She was not even one, and suddenly, the only symptom I had throughout my first pregnancy was that initially, for the first trimester, I was extremely lethargic and very sleepy. And I'm somebody who doesn't sleep. I barely sleep. Even today, 4 to 5 hours, chalega.
Wow.
And I'm so during those days, I was sleeping for forever, like 8 hours on days, and then also I'm like, kind of nodding away, and that was not normal. That was the only symptom in my first pregnancy, and that started happening again, and I was a little, you know, when the thing goes up. But I was on Dynagest, which is a medication which prevents pregnancy.
Yeah.
So I was like, definitely not pregnant because it stops your periods also. So you don't know that. So, but I took a test anyway. I was pregnant.
Wow.
And this time I almost threw up because I was so shocked. I was like, what am I going to do? What am I? This one is too small. I have a dog. My parents just moved back. Then, I don't know how to manage this. I almost, bawled my eyes out. Again woke my husband up. This was again in the morning, and I had to do that. It's like, deja vu. So
Mm,
I woke him up and he started laughing at me.
mm.
I was like, what's wrong with you? I'm crying and you're laughing. He was like, it's better that I laugh, otherwise both of us will be crying. So so then I messaged my doctor. She started laughing. She was like, okay, stop that medication. But yeah, it doesn't have an impact on the baby. You don't worry about that. I'm not getting an appointment to confirm it with the ultrasound that how far along am I, what's going on. So I called an independent ultrasound technician, diagnostic centers, and I called her, and he was like, no, no, we're full. It was a weekend, so weekends diagnostic centers are crazy.
Yeah.
See, I have to confirm this pregnancy. I was unaware, and I really have to do this. Can you please find me 10 minutes of your time just to confirm it? And then I need to know what's going on because I was on medication. So I don't know if there's an impact. So she misunderstood it. And anyway, she called me. She thought I was going to abort the child.
Mm.
So she was like very um, guarded when she was
Mm.
talking to me. And she was like, okay, ये मैंने कहा, see, so I meant to ask her, see, I've been taking this medication. इसका कोई impact तो नहीं है. And she thought I'm asking whether I should take a medication.
Yeah.
No, no, no. You have to get it, surgically done. And I thought she's asking me to abort the child. What is
Yeah.
going on? And then then she looked at me. She understood the confusion. She looked at me and said, are you sure you don't want to keep the baby? I said, I never said that. She's like, and then her demeanor changed. She was like, oh, I totally misunderstood it. And then she said, no, no, everything is fine. The medication generally doesn't have an impact on anything, but you'll get your tests done. So that's how the second pregnancy happened. I was more than 9 weeks already when I found.
Wow.
With my first pregnancy, I found out in 5 weeks
Hmm.
because I could sense it. But with the second one, it was a little delayed. So yeah, that was
Hmm.
how I found out about the two pregnancies.
Do you like now, do you ever feel overwhelmed by the sheer physical and emotional load of having two babies around the house, having a dog, having so many people around, and having to be the go-to person and everything? Like, does it hit you ever?
Every day, at least once, if not. So I get overwhelmed. I get overwhelmed and overstimulated. I get touched out. I go through that every day. I wouldn't be normal if I didn't go through it. Um, Again, another thing people don't talk about, you know,
Yeah.
uh, motherhood, parenting, everything is idolized a little too much, you
Yeah.
know. Oh, it is such a blessing. Yes, it is a blessing. It comes with a set of things which we are never prepared for,
Hmm.
especially young parents.
Hmm.
Young parents, people who are younger, and let's say they had their kids in their 20s. It's very easy on them physically, but otherwise it takes a toll on them, and
Yeah.
there is no validation for that,
Hmm.
which is very unfortunate.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that are very difficult with an advanced stage pregnancy. I won't call it geriatric now.
Yeah. Yeah. Our
It's,
doctors have called that enough
it's
number of times. Yeah.
now now the doctors have stopped using that term. Some don't change, some have changed.
Yeah.
So with an advanced maternal age, there are a lot of physical challenges, definitely.
Yeah.
But I think we are more equipped to be a parent.
Hmm.
Birthing the child is a completely different thing. We are more self-assured. We are financially better off. We are we have crossed the hump
Yeah.
where we are comfortable with our partners. We know where we belong in their lives. We're more assured of things. So yes, physically, it for me it was even worse because I had no time to heal.
Yeah. Yeah.
With my first pregnancy, it was a breeze, you
Hmm.
know, and I would do sit-ups till the last day. Uh, I was perfectly fine. I didn't gain any weight. I was perfectly fine. But the second pregnancy hit me like a tornado because my body was really not equipped for it. And I gained a lot of weight. I have not bounced back yet, not just in terms of weight, but I'm not strong enough.
Yeah.
So today, it's a milestone day for me. I actually fit into the jeans that I wanted to.
Wow. Congratulations.
Small wins, but yes,
No.
it brings a smile,
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
So I fit into the jeans that I wore just after you know, just before I found out that I was pregnant. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bought it.
Yeah.
So I fit into that today, and no one. It sounds vain, but it's not.
Yeah.
It has a lot to do with uh, getting a sense of self back.
Yeah.
And when that happens, na, you are that much more fulfilled in the rest of your uh, responsibilities,
Yeah.
roles. You know, um, when I say that I'm the go to person, if I'm that, what is the alternative? If not me, then who?
Hmm.
And I enjoy it. I might not enjoy it in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
but I like being that person. I get that importance. I'm lucky that I get that importance. Whether it is Masi looking for a gift for her granddaughters because she can't order yet. So she
Yeah.
lives in Chandigarh,
Hmm.
and it was what something, I don't know, some occasion, and she said that I want to gift something. to the two. She has two granddaughters. So what should I buy them? You tell me, and then you order, and it'll come to me. I said, you wait. I'll do it on Blinkit or Swiggy for you. So I have their address on Swiggy for me. So I sent it, and she was floored. And her Samdhan, as in my bhabhi's,
Yeah.
was also, they're very good friends. She was like, I need this girl in my life.
Wow. Wow.
I was very happy. It's very validating, you know, it's very validating, and you feel so blessed that there are people who attach that kind of importance to you.
Yeah, and
Yes,
also feel that kind of, I mean, that comfort also, right? Like that hug. You have enabled her to feel that hug. Otherwise, who feels comfortable calling someone up?
not many people do.
Yeah.
So my husband last night, he's like, because we are too much into each other's lives, all of us. So if one of the children broke a nail, we would know. So
Wow.
so there are lots of grandchildren, and now my kids, then my brother's kids. I have three cousin brothers that I'm very close to.
Yeah.
So their kids, between all of us, we have six kids.
Wow.
um, and no, sorry, eight kids. I didn't count another one. Eight kids. And actually they live abroad, so
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
it kind of slips out. So eight kids between all of us, and we know everything that's happening in each one's lives.
Wow.
Who did some poetry recitation in their schools, because all age ranges, 18
Yeah.
to 2, not even 2 yet. So
Wow.
a big range.
Yeah.
So, and so even in our generation, the eldest brother is 14 years older than the youngest.
Wow. Wow.
So
Yeah.
that's why even our kids are like that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, that is there, and we're too much into each other's lives, and that's why this happens. Her OTT platform is not working, so I'm trying to solve it from here,
Wow.
because my brother's in Navy, so and they're not very internet savvy. My
Yeah.
brother and sister-in-law, kids don't have the time or the energy or the inclination to do it for their grandparents, so it's me. Then my brother was having a party at his place, and he doesn't know much about mixing drinks.
Hmm.
There was a lady coming in who would have gin and tonic, so he brought one can of tonic water, and he told me कि मैं एक ले आया हूँ. What do you think? I said, I think you're a fool. He's 7 years older than me, mind you. I said, you sit tight. Then he was like, अच्छा अच्छा अभी I'll take a bath and then I'll go and do that. I said, see, नहीं होना तेरे से.
Hmm.
Let me do it for you. So that's how the Swiggy thing happened, and he gave me the address, and I ordered
Yeah.
back and all that. So these things, that's why we are too much into each other.
Does it get tiring?
It does at times, but we won't have it any other way.
Hmm.
Can't really pull us apart. It's been like this always. That's why we are all so chaotic. Like
Yeah.
yesterday, my husband was laughing at me. Yesterday, my younger brother's, he works with Havel, and he's now grown up. I can't believe it, but he's grown up. So he had some interns, and they wanted to survey a few houses. So he called me, Didi, ऐसा ऐसा है. I'm sending two kids over, college kids. वो kitchen आके देखेंगे, आपको interview करेंगे, and this is what is in my mind. I said, okay. And my husband is like, what is wrong with you? ऐसे कौन करता है? I was like, no, I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way. I love that I'm his, Didi, can you do?
Go-to person. Yeah. Yeah.
And we don't hesitate. We don't think twice about making that call.
Yeah.
We also know कि गाली भी पड़ेगी.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I mean, there is
Yeah.
no sacrificial,
Yeah,
all.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It's
Saying
not like
yes
that.
all the time. Yeah.
It's not like that. I will, you know, I'll make it a point to let them know that right now you're making me do this. I have this many things to
Hmm.
do it. And they know it,
Yeah. Yeah. But
which is good.
that's the kind of comfort, it's wow. It's beautiful to see that. Who has that in today's times? Yeah.
It's That's why this gratitude is so deeply layered in all of us, that we have that. No, I have not seen many people enjoy this, you know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I want to talk to you about, something you said. You said you're strict about discipline, structure, nutrition, social behavior, and kindness.
Yes.
Why these specifically?
Everything else is temporary.
Mm-hmm.
If they are not doing well in their studies, it's temporary,
Mm-hmm.
or it doesn't have that kind of an impact.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe studies is not their thing.
Mm.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's not the end all be all. But if they are not eating right, uh, they are ruining something which is irreplaceable.
Yeah.
If they are not disciplined, they are setting themselves up for failure.
Yeah.
If they are not socially aware,
Mm.
they will not have the community that I enjoy.
Mm. Yeah.
So there are things which I have done wrong, and I don't want them to do it. And there are things I've done right and I
Yeah.
want them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
is a combination. I don't care if they don't study, but or they don't perform well. All I want is for them to sit for that 1 hour,
Mm.
that bit of exercise, do it as not everybody is going to be a genius.
Yeah.
I don't have that expectation.
Yeah.
I'm not a genius, and
Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm doing well.
Yeah.
I'm happy where I am. I want that to be there. I want to equip them and then do whatever you.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That is very important at this age. If they get these things sorted, um, I think I'm giving them a platform where they can build successfully.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't tell them what to do. I can, there are things that work, there are things that don't work. Like, I want them to go out for an hour every day, no matter what. They have to go out to the park with, of course, with my mother in law, and we have help. So they go for 1 hour and they run around. I've told the help that Didi, you have to make sure that they run around, not just jhula.
Hmm.
She also is very socially aware, the
Hmm.
help. So she makes sure that they greet people that they know, and that they don't get, again, extra attached to strangers, or be over. So she maintains that. She is educated in that. Part of it I have educated, part of it she's already aware. And because my mother-in-law is there, so I'm a little
Yeah.
relaxed
Like.
on the safety
Yeah.
part. So that is there. That is a non-negotiable. That does not, even if they have a little sniffles, they're still going out. I don't care. They have to go out.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
a non-negotiable for me. The other thing is, screen time. I am very, very unmoving on that. They have no screen time. So it's not zero. Of course, it cannot be zero. They have to be normal.
Yeah.
So uh, they have a screen time in the afternoon, when I'm not around. So they never ask for screen time with me. They know I'm going to say no.
Mm.
They are very, and this is the kind of education that you cannot give. Why? Because I have very different ideologies. My husband has very different ideologies. They understand the diversity now.
Yeah.
Okay, this works with this works with this person, and they are also getting very emotionally intelligent because of that. They
Yeah.
know tantrums don't work with me. They know it works with their dadi.
Hmm.
So they know where to do what. They will never ask for meetha from me. They know they're not going to get it. They know they will get a kishmish from me, but they will never get a chocolate from me.
Hmm.
So they are becoming intelligent in understanding and adapting according to the person in front of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rigidity melts away.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So I am never going to tell my mother-in-law not to give them something, except don't go overboard. She
Hmm.
does in general, but if there is a stopping point, I generally advise her of that. But I am not going to do it,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there has to be one person who doesn't, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Wow.
I'm okay with being the villain. Every mom is eventually.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not comfortable with it, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
If that's what works, it works.
Yeah.
So I'm very strong about these things. Otherwise, pretty much do whatever you want. If they're spilling, I'm fine with it. If they want to paint, they just can't do it on the walls. They know where do have they have to do it. I have a dog who sheds like crazy because it's a lab.
Yeah.
So um, if they are lying in it, I don't care. Just change your clothes before you climb into the bed. Sometimes they don't even do that.
Wow.
Sometimes they don't even do
How do
that.
you manage that?
See, the thing is, we have reached a stage where we see dog hair and throw it out and eat the rest of the
Yeah,
food.
yeah, yeah.
You
Poor
can't
dogs.
survive without that. So you know it better than me, any day, four times better than me. So I mean, we've reached that stage, and they have grown up like that. Also, my
Yeah,
kids, so they're pretty much immune to it. And yeah, so I'm I was somebody who would freak out at the sight of a hair,
yeah.
and today I'm this person.
Yeah, it seems like, I'm hearing my story backwards. So,
She still tells us this. It's true. I remember this. She would. I used to have long hair, so she would oil my hair or comb my hair and tie it, and the hair that would fall, I would never touch it. I would bring the dustbin to her. I was okay with touching the dustbin. We had a dry dustbin and a organic one. So I would bring it to her. She would throw in it, and she'd be like, "What is wrong with you? Why can't you touch this?" And I was like, I'm getting the job done without you getting up. Please don't question it. So today it has come to that कि खाने में से निकालो और बाकी का कर लो. So yeah, that's growth. I see it as growth.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. My husband is amused. He has seen me go from this to that. So he's
Wow.
and yeah, so I'm happy my kids are growing up without being that rigid about things. I was a very rigid person, it has
Mm,
this way, it has to be that way, it has to be. Now I just, okay, this is what it is. Can I live with this? If not, what can I do about it?
yeah.
Negotiate everything, choose my battles, pick my battles, and then just make peace with the rest.
Yeah, yeah. Talking of rest, do
Yeah.
you get time for rest? What does rest look like for you?
For me, it's uh, I I cannot lie down. I have,
Mm-hmm.
that's my personality type. I cannot lie down. I cannot take a nap. I don't like it. I like reading. I love reading. I love doing things with my hand. I love cooking. I am a very, inward kind of a person. So, you know, my love language is service.
Mm-hmm.
So, whenever I feel like I need some mm, mindfulness or something to ground me, I usually go to the kitchen. So I would
Wow.
bring a whole batch of chuda bhuja or a whole batch of makhanas or a chili oil or some achar or something, and that brings me back to my previous energy levels. Or if I don't want to do anything active, I would just sit with a book or I'll do some coloring. I love recording things. I do some voice work also, and uh, I enjoy my work. I really enjoy my work. So, though it seems like an afterthought in this conversation, but um, again, I'm blessed that I've been able to build my life around it. I have the liberty to work from home,
Yeah.
and um, I also have the pleasure of having a family which gives me that space. So how we live is we have two separate houses even today. So one house is where me kids are usually here, and the other house is where my mother-in-law and my husband alternates between the two houses. He
Okay.
sleeps there because we don't want her to be alone right
Yeah.
now. We plan to move into a single house once there is a house we might get the possession this year.
Yeah.
So this is the interim plan. So what they do for me is, like in the afternoon when the kids are napping or just after post lunch, the kids go there.
Uh-huh.
So they take their nap there. Then from there they would go and have their park
Park
time. They
time.
come
Yeah.
back. So after they're back, that is when I again go back, uh,
Mm.
have our dinner together, and then they come back with me, and then they go to sleep. Once they're asleep, that's when I again pick up my work for a couple
Mm.
of hours more. And in the morning, they go to their play school, so I have a chunk of time then. So that is when I work. So I work in staggered hours.
Yeah.
That's the only way it can function right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And I think it takes the stress also away a little, because you disassociate with whatever was going on. So if it was stressful, you kind of, and
Yeah.
it does create stress also, because in that moment, if you have a call scheduled, then you have to, work around. Like yesterday, I had a call at 8 which spilled over to 9:15. It shouldn't have. It was a 45-minute call, but it went into become an hour and 15 minutes. So that is the time usually they spend with me. So they got a little antsy, but there was someone to manage it.
Yeah.
Many people don't have that.
Yeah.
So, I'm only able to do this because I have that support system and I'm very aware of that.
Yeah.
Mm, I That is where the tradition and new age stuff has to marry together.
Yeah.
So, I make my peace with certain things because I get the advantage also.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
because they're here, I'm able to do things which I wouldn't have thought of earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I get my afternoons of peace where I do a lot of deep work, where I need a lot of attention. So afternoons are good for me. Then mornings also I get a couple of hours, So that's only because there is a bit of tradition in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. How beautiful is that? And tell me, Snigdha, where does Fang fit into all of this chaos?
Oh, uh, he he brought about a life that we could have only dreamed of. You know,
Mm-hmm.
was he was the one. Um, he was where it all started. You know,
Mm. Mm.
and not only did he bring out the mother's instinct in me, I saw him change my husband and his
Mm.
life. Like I said, only after we got Fang, he came to me on his own
Yeah.
and mentioned that he was happy
Yeah.
to go ahead with it and go through the process.
Yeah.
And I can never forget that. Uh, he is the protector for my kids. When I get
Wow.
angry, if I yell, he would yell back at me before the kids can say anything. So, uh, if anybody, he does not like anybody arguing with anybody. He would just put himself in the center of it, and no hugs can happen without him. It's just,
As
it
they
can.
should not.
So if I'm hugging my kids, he'll make his way through. If I'm hugging my father, he's very attached to my father, my husband, and me. So to me, he only comes when he needs something. Otherwise, he doesn't care if I exist. So he comes to me when he's hurt, when he's hungry and not getting the food on time, and if he's cold, if he's hot. So yes, I'm the mom.
Yeah.
So only when he needs some troubleshooting, that's when he comes to me. Otherwise, he just doesn't care about my existence. And he's so used to me just being there.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's and he brought a lot of discipline in our lives. When
Hmm.
he came home, we became healthier because we had to walk him. You
Yeah.
know, and even if we were not cooking for ourselves, uska to we have to, and
Yeah.
we get home food only after the first 3 months. It was always home cooked food. We shifted from pedigree and all that. Um, and I'm lucky that somebody guided me on that because I had no clue.
Hmm.
So that was the first sense of community I got, when I brought Fang home, because people were happy to talk about how to take care of uh, a pet, and they knew this was my first dog. So
Hmm.
I never had one growing up. I'd never, taken care of one. So that's where my first community actually took shape.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Though
Yeah.
people are strongly divided about how what they think of having a pet at home, I've been criticized, I've been encouraged, it's a whole spectrum.
Yeah. 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 And I think it's with everything, right? Like there will be opinions
Yeah,
which are for and against for everything.
it's always. And because I've been very brash about my choices, and I've been very independent since a very young age, courtesy my father, I have received a lot of it,
Hmm.
for and against both.
Hmm.
Yes, it is annoying, but it's also good in a way, because it helps me make an informed choice also,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So, when people were telling me how I was doing something wrong, it also gave me a check.
Yeah. And it also brings, yeah, you're right, because it also brings the real fears and the real kind of,
Yeah,
drawbacks, so to
yeah.
say, out, and you can check against that.
At least then you don't have your head in the clouds.
Yeah.
You get the opportunity to pause,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. And I always give people that comfort to come and tell me if they think something is wrong. Yes, I will react, but they
Hmm.
know. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, uh, I am very strongly opinionated. I don't share my opinions very easily unless someone asks. But that's just me. Not everyone is like that.
Yeah.
If somebody comes and tells me, okay, why are you doing this? You shouldn't have now, you should do this, you should do that. Uh, I give it, I listen to it with an open mind. And I'm happy that that's a part of me. Yes, it annoys people in my life also. Okay, why do you listen to everyone?
Yeah.
And like, no, I'm not doing what they're telling me to do. I'm just listening.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yes, I
Wow.
fight with them also. I fight with them also. So
Hmm.
with them, not all of them. Like if my one of my the brothers that I'm closest to, if they come and tell me, "Ki, ye kya kar rahe hai, aise नहीं." If I don't know, why do you think I should not do it? I'll have that. But they know they have the space to push me also.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. That's That's very rare in a person. I think it's a beautiful quality to have, and to be aware of it yourself, like, of being self-aware in a way that you are. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful quality to have.
It wasn't always like this, now that you're saying it, it wasn't always like this. I was somebody who was very rigid, who would not listen to it. And that's an impression a lot of people carry about me.
Mm-hmm.
Was that I don't blame them. I was that person. Um, like I said, I think parenthood changed me, becoming a mother transformed me. It really calmed me down. One is that. Um, Again, I'm gushing a little about my partner, but yes, Tushar did help me out with that. Oh, he's going to enjoy this.
Come on, come on. Say it all.
He's really going to enjoy this. So, but then he's aware that how valued he is. He is very aware. I make sure that he's aware of it. Um, because not many men get to hear that,
Yeah.
and it's sad. It's very sad.
Yeah.
Um, we get to hear it a lot, you
Yes.
know. We because we have a tendency to appreciate other women.
Hmm.
Men don't do that to each other,
Hmm.
unless they're drunk.
Hmm.
Then
तू मेरा भाई है.
comes out of it. So you don't see that with them, and that's why I make it a point to appreciate the things that I like. I make it a point to tell him when I'm not happy.
Yeah.
Yes, uh, but that's a given. You share that when you have a relationship. You tell people that I didn't like this, I didn't like that. You have that space. That's a given. But we forget to appreciate the other person, and that's a very conscious trait I developed. That's why I always credit him where it is due, and tell him that, um, I know this change has happened because of your presence, and a
Hmm.
very active presence, where um, we'll have arguments, where we'll have discussions, we'll talk like for hours about certain things, how different we are in those aspects. And I'm glad we did that initially also, but maybe we still do it sometimes when we find the time, that is.
Hmm.
But we still do it. And it's important to fight.
Yeah.
And it took me years to understand this, that
Yeah.
how important it is to fight, to confront, to keep. I was somebody who would shut down when I was hurt.
Hmm.
That served no one.
Hmm.
It just brings out resentment in everyone, because when you shut down, you're not healing at all. You're just repressing it. It's
Yeah.
there, and it will come out in a very strange moment,
Yeah.
uh, only making it worse because the other person is then taken aback.
ये
What
कहाँ
just
से आ गया? हाँ.
what just happened? पता ही नहीं था, ये तो syllabus से बाहर था यार.
हाँ.
It becomes like that. So that's why I never understood, because I'd never seen my parents fight. I was one of those
Wow.
protected children. Yeah, I'd never seen them fight.
Hmm.
I'm sure they fought, but it
Yeah.
never happened in front of me.
Yeah.
So I didn't know a healthy relationship requires this work.
Yeah.
And that education happened with Tushar. And when I saw his parents, they would fight.
Hmm.
They- in the moment, it didn't feel nice, but
Yeah.
it is such a running joke even today that, if I stood in my balcony, I could hear the fight sometimes, and I would, say from here, you know what, I can hear you.
Right.
So yeah, I understood that a little. I mean, it took me a fair amount of time to understand the importance of having a fight and to resolve it in a healthy way.
Yeah.
That's another language. The fight language has to sink. We
Hmm.
talk about love language. We never talk about the fight language, or the the healing part of it is very important. It's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
So yeah, that.
Yeah. But how do you sync the fight language?
So it took him some time. There are times when I just need to be left alone and process things.
Oh my God, don't say that because I hate that part. Like my husband likes to do that, and I'm like, come back, come back. You can't have that.
So yeah, even he didn't have that comfort level around it. And you never talk about that in the moment. I used to do it, and it'll just shift focus. It'll become weird, and it'll just so I would I this was me. What I did was, in the moments that we were both calm, I would discuss it. And I would tell him that, see, this happened because I needed to be left alone for this time.
Yeah.
And when does that happen? When do I want to resolve it? When do I want to talk about it? What are uh, uh, the indicators of that?
Mm.
I might not be able to communicate it, but if
Yeah.
I'm doing this,
Yeah.
it means you need to just let it be, and I'll come back. If I'm doing this, means I want you to just in that moment sort it out for me.
Wow.
So yeah, it took years, you know, but yeah,
Wow.
this is very important to sync
It
it up,
is.
to understand, okay, this is what you cannot both be angry at the same time.
Yeah.
You are, and it happens. You do. And in that moment, there's still times we goof up a lot. Both of us, we get into that. But uh, again, I'm very thankful that both of us have understood when to do what and how to kind of process that. It is through practice, and we've had a lot of practice. We've had a lot of fights, and I'm thankful for each one of them, because we learned a lot from it.
Yeah.
What not to do, you know.
Yeah.
We all know what to do, but we need to learn what not to do at times. when do we need to hold back?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's times, now I have learned to say that, right now I need some space. I
Yeah.
never had that vocabulary. I never knew. I just assumed everyone should understand. It
Yeah.
doesn't work. Why should they understand? How would they? And if they don't understand, how is it their fault?
Yeah. Yeah.
And one more thing I've learned again, I it was not me learning, it was more him learning that, even if I don't understand, I need to accept things.
Hmm.
There are certain, not everything, if it's not harming me, then all I can do is just be there.
Yeah.
I don't understand a lot of things. He doesn't understand a lot of things about me. So we educated each other on that also. Okay, it's okay if we don't understand something. We just have to understand if there is something that the other person feels very strongly about,
Yeah. Wow.
just that. And that's why I say that we are in one of our strongest phases, because we've been through hell and back.
Yeah.
It was crazy at times, and because we're so different from each other,
Yeah. Yeah.
we had to learn, relearn, unlearn. A lot of that happened, and bad as it was, pandemic was a pivotal time for us.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So that.
Yeah. Feels like an unpaid therapy session that I'm getting. So thank you.
I am glad if it serves anyone. That's why I started talking about things. I realized nobody talks about these things.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Either it's always very toxic, negative, ye hai, wo hai, or it is too much, floating in there. It's everything is nice.
Yeah.
It's not rainbows and unicorns all the time, and
Yeah. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
learn to navigate things a little better.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true. Okay, for my last question to you for this session, I should say, if you could leave one insight with parents listening, something you deeply believe about raising children, what would it be?
Children need more space than
Mm,
we admit. We know, but we don't admit it. They need the space to get bored. They need the space to just be.
yeah.
They don't need to be your projects.
Mm,
you know yes, they need more attention during their formative years, but not the shaping and the constant. We think we have more influence than we actually have.
yeah. Yeah.
The easiest way for them to have what you want them to have is to let them observe that.
Yeah. Yeah. So
That's it.
beautiful. Yeah.
That's it. And if your children grow up to be kind and happy, you've done your job.
Yeah. So beautiful.
That's my goal.
Yeah, so beautiful. Snigdha, thank you so much. Thank you so much for speaking with such candor. I really, really enjoyed our chat.
And it's so
And
fair. We must meet
yes,
sometime.
yes, we must. We must. Thank you for saying yes once again. I'm so happy that we got to do this. And yeah, I'm just so happy about this conversation. Thank you so much for your time.
Same here. I am so happy to talk about things, and this is a beautiful space you're creating, and there should be more of this.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And to everyone listening, if this episode resonated, please share it with someone who might need it. Follow Parenthood, leave a review if you can, and keep these conversations alive. Until next time, this is Neha Garg signing off. Bye bye.